Famed writer and fly fisher Roderick Haig Brown many years ago wrote, "Man born of woman is of short life and small expectations. But if he remembers that rivers are eternal and returns to them often, his life will be longer, full of peace and learning, and the years will treat him kindly." And so the kindred souls of the fly fishing fraternity do return to rivers often, to partake in an evolutionary continuum, to find peace and solitude in crystal clear waters, perhaps near their homes at first. But as their skills are honed, the desire for new challenges becomes apparent, and thusly the process begins. From quaint little streams near hometowns to perhaps the western fisheries of Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho. But if the truth be known, in the heart of each of us there dwells a desire for the ultimate fly fishing experience.
Yeah, fish was lying right where it was supposed to be. We got a good long leader on here. Look at that. She is a beauty. Look how fat.
All right, good job. Nice fish.
Well, that's the biggest rainbow I've ever caught.
Got it.
Nice big buck.
Buck.
Yep. Nice big male. Well, 25.
25, that's right there. Good boy.
All right. Good job.
days per season are spent on this fantastic fishery. Like a giant azure ribbon, the Alagnak begins 70 miles from where it empties into Bristol Bay. Its genesis comes from two large lakes whose waters meld to form this great river.
It begins from two lakes that lie on the map south of Iliamna. One is Kukaklik, the other is Nonvonic. And both of these outlets of these lakes form, about 20 miles down, they form a forks, which is the beginning of the Alagnak River. And from that point on, the Alagnak winds its way down this big river valley across the tundra and eventually joins up with the Kwijak again about 4 miles before it empties into Bristol Bay. The top half of the Alagnak is what I consider superb rainbow water.
There is one key component of this river that is the stuff legends are made of. The Alagnak fly fishing veteran speaks of the braids with near reverence.
For many years, I wanted to fish the braids. I heard about the braids of the Alagnak, and it was one of those mysterious, enticing fisheries that compelled a fly fisherman to experience it one day. And the braids are everything they're said to be.
They are a myriad of woven waterways which add literally hundreds of miles of fishable water to the river. As the river works its way down the broad tundra valley, it shallows in many places and offers ideal lies for huge rainbow and also perfect wade fishing.
Fish will spawn right in the river. There we go! Good one! Yeah! There! Yeah!
Definitely a river fish.
That fish, I always do that to the guy.
Oh, man. Now, that's got an example of what we're talking about.
Oh,
Look at that. That's a hand.
look at that fish.
Woohoo! Just like
Easy.
Good fish.
You would have got a little better shot. All right. Good job, man.
There he is. That's a pig too.
Yep, that's a hog. There he is again, boys.
On the swing.
On the swing.
They're really hammering that swing, aren't they?
They are. These fish are just unbelievable. I'm glad I got this 7-weight. We got a 4 right now or a 5. What we would do is to tire the fish to near exhaustion, and you don't want to do that.
This is what we've been waiting for.
This is it. This is probably it right here. Let's see. This is probably it, right? Is it 10?
Oh man.
Nope, not quite 10, but I bet you it's darn close.
Look at the girth. Look at
Big Alagnak rainbows right here, son. Woo-wee! That fish is every bit of 8 pounds.
And he gets it from his girth.
Yep.
God, look at the shoulders on that thing.
Oh, that thing is fat.
Eating well. Nice.
Oh.
Nice.
I had to have the honors of it.
Oh man. Hey, I don't blame you. I don't the same thing. There he is.
This fish is nice.
Beautiful.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Look at the stripe on it.
I know it.
Man.
This is the one we've been looking for today. That. It's tough.
So pretty.
They are, aren't they? and we probably caught 100 12-inch fish on the way down, stripping it, dead drift on the surface. It was pretty crazy. Lost a lot of nice ones up there too. I'm putting some lateral pressure on this fish. If you try only fighting the fish up in the current with your rod up in the air, he or she can extend their fins and compensate for that pressure. But when you put the rod down at an angle like this, they don't know what to do. They don't have any fins that, whoa. Look at the crimson side of this thing. They sure don't. Look at that. All right. Look at that. Nice fish. No. There we go. Look at that big red lateral line. That is beautiful, huh? Big male. Yep. Rosy red gill plate. Look, there we go. Look at that.
The Alagnak rainbows are unique among all subspecies of rainbow. It might even be fair to label them as an aberration, for this species has a tendency to grow to huge proportions in a relatively short period of time.
Lower 48, 20-inch fish is considered a trophy, and rightfully so. In Alaska, 22-inch, 23-inch fish is considered average. So what we're talking about here in the trophy range, we're talking 30-inch fish, 28, 30-inch fish, 9 to 12 plus pound fish.
There are 4 species of salmon which make yearly appearances in the Alagnak River system. A 5th species, the pink, comes every other year. There is a commonality of purpose among them, the kings, chums, sockeye, silvers, and pinks, and their stories are similar. In a Herculean struggle, they make their incredible trek from the ocean to spawn in the exact waters which gave them life. Nothing but death itself can keep them from reaching this spawning ground, and then, in one of nature's cruel twists of fate, their heroic struggle is rewarded by death anyway, but only after they themselves have spawned, thereby ensuring the continuation of their species. Nature has made them unwitting heroes in the grand scheme of things. They are a key to the river system's ecology, providing a source of sustenance to nearly every living thing that touches the eternal river, from gulls to eagles, from otters to the huge Alaska brown bear. Even the largest animal in the Alaska wilderness is affected. This cow moose and her calf are flushed from the heavy brush by the bear, whose life is sustained in large part by the salmon. The bear had designs on the calf and likely would have killed it, except for the presence of our cattle.
Hey, bear. Hey, bear.
If you spend much time on any of the rivers in this area, bear encounters are almost a certainty. Common sense is your greatest ally. Remember, you are an intruder in their domain. In most cases, if you make enough noise first, close encounters are rare. As this picture illustrates, human scent most often will be sufficient cause for the bear to move on. There are, however, situations which are almost certain to provoke an unwanted encounter. Coming between a sow and her cub, surprising the bear with your presence, or unwittingly stumbling across a bear's food cache. But almost always, generating a loud noise will spare you from any unpleasantries.
everybody that's new to Alaska is very bear conscious, and you wouldn't be human if you weren't. But the truth of the matter is that after a while, what you learn is that bears they're what I call fishing bears. They're out doing their thing, and they don't want trouble. They just want space to do their thing. So once you understand that, and for example, once you occupy a sandbar like we've been doing here this afternoon, we're not going to have a bear walk in on us. We might have one stand up and poke its head over and see what's going on. Then all you do is you holler and you go away. But if people will just respect the bears, give them enough room, it's really not something that you become too worried about or you think too much about.
Like all of the animals living here, the bear plays an important role in the eco-chain. And there is that common thread which binds it all together. It is the salmon. And in this picture, you see the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end. These salmon fry swim around the decaying salmon carcass. They will eat from it and grow. In 4 years, they will likely be the food source, and new fry will draw sustenance from them.
Basically, the smolt and fry survive and grow on this nature cycle of this decaying salmon flesh. And as these salmon die, they'll either begin floating downstream or they'll end up on the bank somewhere and they'll start to decompose. And it isn't very long thereafter that the salmon flesh itself becomes a very vital food staple for the indigenous species.
And it is not just the death of the large that helps feed the small. The life which pours forth from the spawning salmon is also claimed as a food source. The salmon eggs are very rich in nutrients and are deposited in large enough numbers to ensure both propagation of the species and food for the river's inhabitants, both large and small.
When you go in the shallow water, like on the inside of a gravel bar, you'll see big, huge pockets of eggs, and they range in color from orange and pink to red. All depends on how long all the eggs have been inside the stream, but there'll be just big pockets of eggs. And those rainbows, whenever they float on down, boy, they just come up and gloop, gloop, gloop.
Once those salmon start to spawn, if you're not using egg patterns for a period of time, it can be real difficult, to pick up nice fish. Because once they start to key on it, that's what they're after.
Because there are periods of time between salmon runs on the Alagnak, the eggs are not a constant in the rainbow's diet. But the presence of the salmon is almost always felt.
Well, depending on the time of the year, certain times of the year, they'll key into eggs and they won't be eating the flesh as much. And for some reason, to a point, when the eggs start, they'll be seeing a lot of dead eggs floating down the river. About that point is when they start really keying into flesh. That's when the salmon really start to die off.
Rarely do you have anywhere where you've got such a huge number of fish dying, coming apart, and it really helps feed the entire system. It keeps everything going. The rainbows are up there just gorging on it. It's a big food source for them for the year. You're talking about millions of fish that are all going to die, and it's all utilized though. Just a neat thing about the river system, that they're eating the flesh. The big rainbows are eating the flesh. The small rainbows, all the way down to the fry, are in there eating flesh.
Salmon carcasses in varying stages of decomposition are a common sight along the Alagnak. Nature sees to it that very little goes to waste. As the dead salmon go through stages of decomposition, their flesh becomes soft and pliable. Soon, pieces of flesh separate from the carcasses and are washed downriver. And for the huge population of rainbow trout in the river, it can be tantamount to a feeding frenzy.
A lot of times when anglers are fishing, if they'll watch carefully, they can see fish bite a large clump of this and try to tear it off.
And so, The sustenance derived from these huge pieces of salmon flesh is considerable. The flesh is rich in nutrients, and thusly is one of the keys to explaining this river's propensity for producing world-class rainbow trout.
Oh, look at that. That's one of those. Good. Whoa, 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 whoa. We got one on it. Maybe that one. What do we do with it? Bones on. Let's land them down here. The fish was sitting inside of that pocket water out of the main current. And I fished the middle of the current and at the back right here, the only caught small one. This whole area, never know when there's a big one. Nice rosy red rainbow. Alright. Now that's an Alagnak rainbow. Oh, that thing is so fat. Here we go. Goes. That was worth it. One of those flesh flies again.
If it is true that necessity is the mother of invention, then the evolution of the flesh fly should be obvious. At times, the trout will key in on salmon flesh almost to the exclusion of all other food sources. And so patterns of flesh flies have evolved. Sometimes even the color of the fly will be hypercritical, since there are varying degrees to the process of flesh decomposition.
You know, it can vary during the course of the season. You know, when they're first starting to break down, it's a little darker color. You know, you're talking more of a light tan, and then naturally the longer it's been in the silt into the river, and the more it breaks down, the whiter it gets until finally we're fishing almost a pure white rabbit tip. You know, towards the end of the flesh run.
The food sources for the rainbow in this life-giving river are boundless. Salmon, fry, and smolt by the billions struggle for survival, but only a minuscule percentage see adulthood. The vast majority are devoured by hungry predators. The long and undulating action of the leech is also a natural food too tempting to pass on.
One thing we've been using up here, other than an ordinary leech, is the strip leech. It's longer, it imitates a leech. It's heavy at the front end of the fly, so it kind of looks like the leech is sucking to the bottom.
Essentially what a strip leech is a big strip of black rabbit hair. You can use olive or burgundy. Burgundy works real well. Brown, dark brown works real well. But I like to tie them big. The bigger, the better.
But the lion's share of the food consumed by the rainbow is subsurface, and it has a caloric value many times greater than the small insects typically taken on the surface. In each of these wondrous creatures, a biological clock ticks. Instinctively, it knows that in order to survive the harsh Alaska winter, it must ingest huge amounts of food when it is most readily available. And very few things swimming in the water or on top of it are spared from its ravenous appetite. In some years, a cyclical influx of mice and lemmings can be found along the river. They are another important item in the food chain.
Have you ever seen a small mouse or a shrew or a lemming when it's on the side of the stream and it inadvertently drops in the water? He's trying like heck to paddle back to shore. Well, there's a rainbow in the area. He's not going to make it. I mean, there's just no ifs, ands, buts about it.
Once again, bigger seems to be better when tying flies to be used for the Alagnak rainbows.
Oh, well, it's so prolific. It's on the surface. It's so exciting, and it's so visible.
That's what gets these rainbows big. You know, you eat a half a dozen mice a day, you're going to get fat. There's no two ways about it. It's like eating 3/4 pounders a day. What I like to do is to cast up towards the bank. I'll cast it almost perpendicular to the current. I'll throw in an upstream end real quick. I'll hold the line real taut and throw a big wake on it, and when the rainbow hits it, it's over with. You know you have a fish on, whether it be a small 14 or 16 inch rainbow, or it be a trophy 24, 26 inch rainbow. But I've even seen them hit it where they've come out of the water and gone down on it. I'm not sure if there's too many places in the lower 48 that you can find that.
It invokes an instinct of a predatory instinct in them, and sometimes they'll hold off. It's seemingly hold off as long as they can, and then they must rush to gobble that mouse.
There he is! Look at that! Oh man, I'm gonna tighten down that drag. That is a good fish. There's Dan. Out in the current. That's what we've been looking for. Okay, let's kick him off here. There we go. Nice job. Nice fish.
While the Alagnak River system is one of the world's most fishable bodies of water, there is nothing automatic about catching rainbows here. But if you have a basic understanding of how to read trout water, your chances for success will be greatly improved. Seams, confluences, and pocket water are likely places to spend your time.
The fish hold in the pocket water, it's less current. In the riffle, they like to hold there because of the waves above them, they feel protected. The seams, they like to hold up between the seams when there's two different currents going at one way. They like to hold right between there. They have two lanes of food coming down towards them. They're able to go off to the left or to the right-hand side and pick up flesh, eggs, sculpins, mice. In the tail of the seams, you can pick up fish too.
It's a challenge to fly fishermen sometimes to read the water and be able to determine the type of fishing to go after them. But, with 70 miles of river and the braids, 25 miles of braids, very weightable braids, coming down from Kukaklik and Nonvonic lakes, it's just a wonderful challenge, and rainbows are the ultimate Alaska sport fish.
He's got a lot of life in him. Put his head right down in that sand, start crashing around. Plus, he's in shallow water where his head's going to be out. Raise his head, keep got it. There we go. All right. Look how deep that thing is. Boy, is he been eating. Not real long, but girthy.
Wow, take him right down there.
That fish has been gorging. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that belly.
Yep.
All right, nice fish. Lives to fight another day. All right, good job, Dan.
Make it feel like it's a 10-pounder. See if I can land them right in front of us here. A 22-inch fish will make it feel like it's a 10-pounder.
All right.
Look at this. Boy, I tell you, you stay up until almost 11:30 at night in Alaska, and you get this. About a 21-inch fish, 22-inch fish, real fat to male. You could tell the side of the gill or the side of the jaw it does not extend past the eye. We're gonna take this fish back and throw him back. Do a nice gentle release. I can get his. Ow! Biting my finger, Rick. Alrighty. Rainbows in Alaska, 11 o'clock at night, 11:30. That was worth about 6 mosquito bites on my neck and my ear.
Go. All right. One down. Nice big spot. Beautiful fish. Deep that thing is. Oh, you deep in it.
Look at that. Pretty hand.
Big man.
Bites.
Okay, there's a beautiful buck, Dan. You can see the nose on him.
Yep.
Longer.
That's a hand.
Look at that. Oh, man, I don't think they get fatter than that.
All right.
Nice.
Just get out of the boat. It took 2 casts. This big old rainbow. Big old rainbow and a big old flashlight. Give him a drink. You hold the head that way. Get the fish to come around. Smell. Almost 25.
Nice. It gets its weight right there.
That's right where it gets its weight from, right there. Alrighty. Alright.
The Alaska wilderness is truly America's last frontier. The pristine beauty of this grand and mighty open-air cathedral is an elixir for man's soul, a panacea for the petty problems which find their way into his daily life. To stand with fly rod in hand, knee-deep in one of her rivers, is a just reward for a hard and grueling life, and it perhaps gives man a small preview of what heaven is likely to be. It is good for man's spirit to watch the river closely, to study it, to understand it, and to spend time on it. For in doing so, man begins to understand himself, his beginning, and his end.
There was a tap, I don't know whether it was bottom.
There he is. It's on. All right.